Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Give My Head podcast. I'm Tim McGarry, joined by my comedy colleagues
Michael McDowell, Damon Quinn.
And we are here on the Give My Head podcast discussing life, culture and comedy in Northern Ireland. But before we start, we want to thank our wonderful sponsors. Phoenix Energy are back sponsoring our podcast. Thank you, Phoenix Energy. Phoenix Energy, as we know, own the gas distribution network from Larne to Newcastle and fuel over 250,000 homes in Northern Ireland, the 6 counties, Ulster, whatever you prefer. Phoenix Gas are there. Dave Elliott is our special guest today. Dave, guess how much carbon you could save by making the switch from oil to gas? Any idea? Do you think it is more than 30% that you would save?
I was going to say 37.8.
That's a very good guess.
Not bad.
Wrong. But it's wrong because you can actually save more than 48% of carbon emissions by making the switch to gas, which would be a good thing because, as we discussed on an earlier episode with somebody about the weather and climate, the climate is frigged. Phoenix Energy are helping it. They're making small contributions, isn't that right?
That's right. Well, yes, they're actually future-proofing it because they're looking into making the gas come from biomethane sources, Tim. Do you know what biomethane is?
Farting.
Well, you're getting close.
Is that not right? No.
Yeah, well, luckily enough, it's not. They're not using humans. They're going to use cows.
Oh, right.
Cows and livestock. And
they don't want my farts. They want cows' farts.
They want cows. Apparently, they're much more effective.
Well, they haven't seen my farts.
Yes, so it's going to fuel thousands of homes with renewable energy.
Yep. With biomethane, do you know anything about biomethane? Do you ever do biomethane?
No, I did single word science, so I don't know.
No. It's very, very.
You don't know what you're talking about. It's biomethane, guys.
It's Donald Trump there or something. Yeah, biomethane, very good.
That's
the
great.
best. We love biomethane.
Yes,
Haven't a clue, have you? What he's basically said is biomethane is very good. It's better for the environment.
That's it.
Phoenix Energy, thank you very, very much for your sponsorship. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been very generous to us. They are good. I'm actually genuinely thinking of switching to Phoenix. If you're interested in more of this and finding out their work, go to the Fueling the Future. Visit phoenixenergyni.com, an excellent website. They also have a new scheme out, and we'll talk about that later on. Fueling the Future, explore the pathway to decarbonisation, or find them on social media by just searching Phoenix Energy NI. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Phoenix Energy NI. Dave Elliott, did you have a sponsor for your podcast?
Just stuff for like grooming your genitals and beers.
Yeah.
And ideally, you drink the beers and you do
But see,
the works.
that tells you what sort of a podcast this is. Was our podcast, we're trying to save the world, whereas you're just shaving men's
Yes, that's
genitals.
it. And I mean, I don't even do it myself. That's the thing, I don't. I believe once you get a certain age, you just need to let nature take its course.
Dave Elliott, welcome to the podcast. Dave Elliott, for some people may not know because we get a slightly older audience, a select audience we have on this podcast. Some people may not know Dave Elliott, one of our finest stand-up comedians, podcaster and actor, and well-known actor
serious actor.
on Blue Lights. And Dave very kindly supported me on my recent tour of Ridiculous, the one-man show I did, and
I need the invoice too. And I need to push for those payments. It's not.
Yeah.
What you wanted paid?
Oh, I thought
I was giving you the opportunity, mate.
Oh, sorry. If I'd have known, thank you for the exposure. I appreciate it.
I was giving you the opportunity to see a large audience for once.
Oh, that's good.
There was no need for that.
He's desperate for the money. He has to shave his pubes to make money.
Exactly. And I don't even get paid for that. I have to sell it in the black market. Which is even worse.
How the hell are you, Dave? All good?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's good to be. I'm actually so baffled about how they gather the methane gases from the cows. That's what I want to know. How do they harvest
Well,
that?
Damon will explain in great detail afterwards.
I have to do some homework.
That's fair.
Spokesman for Phoenix Energy saying, what? He didn't mean that. But life treating you well, Dave?
Yes,
All good?
life is good. Yeah, the weather's nice. When the weather's good, everyone's better, isn't it?
Yeah, we've just said we were doing 30-something pod. This is our 30-something episode, but you have done 290 episodes.
Too many.
You did, you doing podcasts before I knew what a podcast was. In fact, I was on your podcast before.
Yes.
You've done 280 podcasts.
Yes.
Is there any money in it?
Not enough. There's a bit.
You've got the 280 and you still haven't earned it.
Yes, but you know what? It's for the love of it, isn't it? Sometimes that's all you need.
It's bringing.
And I don't know who loves it or where it comes.
Bringing
but,
entertainment to the people.
Yeah.
There is a slightly serious point here because 290 that implies at least one a week for several years.
Yeah, which when you put it like that, it's quite saddening.
For several years. And And you did podcasts earlier on with Shane and stuff.
Yes,
and
we did at the
then,
start.
You do your own one now called Slyboy, which I have been out.
Yes, I
Sly.
did. But Shane wanted to have a successful podcast, so he was like, "Where's the dead weight here? Cut me off," and he's doing
Is
great.
that what
He's
happened?
doing great now,
Yeah.
yeah. So
But
that was
you're,
it.
You're still muckers and all.
Oh, yeah, we're still friends professionally, yeah. So that's still the case.
No
No.
bitterness.
Oh, no.
So which one are we throwing out of the link?
Where's the weak link, Dave? Where did you find the weak link in the the podcast? When did you discover the weak link?
I mean, I think I still haven't. I don't think, I still think I'm still trying to look. But no, it's been going right, and it's been good.
But
and
to be fair, you and Shane did start. I remember doing a podcast with you from my bedroom during lockdown. I was on the podcast in my bedroom and going, "What are the podcast? What is this? Why does somebody want to talk to me on a podcast?" And
Yeah,
you and
it's
Shane were early adapters. Is that the?
yeah, well, I mean, I've been called various editions of adapters, not early adapters, different types. But no, I think I don't know. Well, whenever we did ours together, it was very silly. We did a podcast called Boytown, which was very strange. And after that, I think I started doing one by myself afterwards, just to try to figure out material and jokes and think, if I say this out, can I make sense of this? And then it kind of just went from there, and then no one wanted to listen to me by myself, and then I thought I had to get guests in. So then here we are later. It's just become a routine now, and it's it's a good way.
Recently, because
we needed to get a boost in the numbers, and we need to call in the A team, get it Tim, and then the rest would go for itself. But that was great. That was a really good episode, and I found out you're a big fan of rap during that. I didn't know that. R&B and hip hop. It was
kneecap in great detail. And I said, I love rap as much as the next 60-year-old man. No, but we did genuinely discuss the film, and I said there were bits of the film that I didn't particularly like or get, but I actually didn't mind the music too much.
Yeah.
No, genuinely, I thought that was,
yeah. So you weren't enjoying the plot, you're sitting and bopping away?
I was, yeah. See, you're a lot younger than us, and a part of the thing is occasionally I listen to Shane or your podcast, and there's cultural references, and I'm going, they're talking about bands from the noughties and stuff. Music stopped when the Smiths broke up in the mid 1987.
But that's it. I'm in a real position of that now, where I'm starting to see the big difference between me and younger people and what they like, and I'm sort of going, music's dead, it's rubbish. And I just feel like this morning I was looking up the difference between what bowels are and intestines are, because I'm starting to have to think about my stool a bit more. So that's where stressing was coming.
So are Phoenix Gas. They're about stools.
If they could get a contraption attached to me, they could save a fortune. Yeah. So I'm definitely noticing that, the cultural differences and people mentioning things in rapper names and this and that. I just don't. I don't
My
get
daughter
it
is
anymore.
into techno, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like, what the? It is the only music.
Share with the word, granddad.
It is the only music apart from country and western. She goes, no, fuck it, turn it off. It's fucking awful.
Techno. What is techno?
What the fuck? That's techno, Tim.
Right. Okay.
Shite. That's absolute shite. That's what
The
techno
Give
is.
My Head podcast. Down with the kids. And down with the kids.
I am
Listen
down
to
with the
proper
kids.
music. Have you heard of the Beatles? They're very good.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones.
They're an up and coming beat combo.
They're super with it. Yeah.
Well, you see, I've discussed this with Dave before, because you see, this is generational, because Dave has a couple of kids, and you have a brilliant show on Radio Ulster called Daddy What's a Podcast. Very, very good show. And thoroughly recommended. Radio Ulster and on BBC Sound.
Yes.
Where you're discussing. You're a lot younger than us, but you have a couple of young kids, youngish kids.
Yeah, 7 and 4, my daughters.
7 and 4.
And yeah, that's just, I already see myself, I just look at my dad. I was around at my dad's house this morning, and I was looking into a mirror. I'm like I get why you just like to sit and look out the window and be grumbling about stuff all the time. It's too much. He just sits and he grumbles.
It's the best thing in the world. Doing nothing.
And I remember I actually asked him, I was like, well, what do you enjoy doing? And he goes, just peace and quiet by myself. And I was like, all right, anything else? No. Now I get it. I can see why.
I love doing nothing. It's my favourite pastime. I love doing absolutely nothing.
But do you get to do that often?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, usually when he's writing with us.
No, I can't. My kids are my eldest daughter, 7, has got an iPad for school, so she'll do all everything's through the iPad now,
I
so
thought that
your
was all
homework
kind of
through.
discouraged. I thought they were sort of like,
Yeah, I mean, I think, but it's very restricted, which is good. I like that. But it's just there's the games nowadays. Everything in school, they have to get up and use the computers and do their adding sums and their everything online. So I have her iPad connected to my phone. So occasionally I'll get like text being she's looking to download these games or whatever. So whatever goes through her is me. But I find the whole thing really weird. I went out. This is probably going to be the most startling thing you hear. I went out for a run the other day.
Alright.
Yeah, I know people are like, whoa, but I was out in the morning and I got
to do a run or watch it.
Yes, to do one at this occasion. And I'm trying to run a leg of the marathon here in a couple of months, and it's going to be an experience. But I was out for that, and she sent me a video message from her iPad saying, "Daddy, please come home. Mommy hasn't got out of bed. I need my breakfast." I'm like, I can't get away from her. Text messages, and
Right.
I said,
Yeah,
"Look,
you
see
can
if you want
escape.
me, just come down. Don't. It's weird to me that my 7-year-old
All
send
right.
me text messages."
In the house.
In the house, yeah.
All right, okay.
And like, is my dinner ready? I'm like, no. Come down and say, have a chat.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
at 7. It's just mad.
Kids don't watch TV anymore, do they?
Well, they can still do a bit of that, but it's more tablet. They like they have the things, and they just it's
Yeah.
like, you know, I used to have to sit down after school, watch CBBC, and that was on for a period of time,
Yeah.
and then it was countdown. And I remember that was what it used to be, but now they can just flick. There's no concentration. It's on to the next, on to this.
No count, yeah.
So I just have to. I have to
So
send them
hang
out to
on,
the street.
There's no jotters anymore in school. Like you don't have a jotter anymore.
Oh, there's still a jotter. There's still some
okay.
jotters because
Okay.
the handwriting still matters, but
Yeah.
a lot of
How
it's
you
through.
can't beat the kids anymore. Teachers
Wait,
can't slap
what?
them and all. No, I know. No leather straps. That's all
That's ridiculous.
woke nonsense.
No, I like, and then the teachers are so nice. Their primary school teachers are lovely. They're all like Miss Honey from the novel Matilda. They're all like super friendly. And I remember I saw my P2 teacher about a couple of weeks ago when I was out walking the dog, and I shit myself. I hid behind a wall and all. Thought she's gonna come after me. And the woman, she must be about 207 now, but she was still as terrifying as I remember. I know these teachers. I'm sort of looking at them, going, well, if they're bad, give them a week. You know, you'd be grand.
Escape.
I think, did you do a routine about being a father at the school gates instead of,
Yes.
because, being a freelance comedian?
Yes.
Yes, being a father at the school
Yeah.
gates and, when it's
Oh.
mainly mummies.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of.
I'm not
gossip.
saying you look like a paedophile, but...
No, I mean.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I think you said it.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely that look about, and I think nowadays as well with having the dads are more sort of hands on and expected to be more sort of there. Whereas like I barely saw my dad. It was grand. You know, you just come in and you don't need to go into him if you need it told off or hit. You know, he'd summon you while he'd be looking out the window, grouching, and then and it was always the threat of it. But nowadays you have to be there. You have to be in WhatsApp groups. There's too many of them.
Yeah.
You know, you're in school WhatsApp groups. You're in Rainbow's WhatsApp groups. There's groups within groups. It's just too much. And I just teachers getting presents WhatsApp groups. That's another one that they all gather together.
Don't start me
It's
on that.
horrific.
Yeah.
And like you remember back in the good old days, you'd bring them an apple and say thank you.
Yeah.
And that'd be it. Not now. You have to bring them prosecco and gift hampers and tickets to shows and all all sorts. It's wild.
The thing about it was actually I sympathise with that because I used to have to pick up my kids from primary school every so often, and there was that bit where they didn't show up and you'd be going. And all the mothers start to look at you because they'd all peel away, and you'd be standing on your own going, he's just been standing here. All he's been doing is looking.
Man.
And then finally your daughter would turn up.
Yeah. And another thing they tell you not to do at school gates is that you make sure you put chapstick on your lips because you can't be licking your lips. You're around there, especially if the crowd's dispersed. It looks very suspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, times are changing, and
Times are changing.
and it's and I don't like it. I don't like it.
But how do you think we feel? So you're 30. You're now full time comedian. You went
Yeah.
full time a couple of years ago.
Been 3
I met a
years
fella
now,
who used to
yeah.
work with you in the housing executive, Sean O'Neill. the
Yes. What did he have to say?
Yeah. Well,
What did he have to say? It's not
he
true.
said nice things about you.
Good.
He said nice-
That's good. No, he's a
he
great
did
man.
Said nice things
Yeah.
about you, but you were one of these guys who now can go taking the leap and go on. I can make a full time career at this.
Yes.
Got the podcast, which obviously make no money. Gigs,
Yep. Which make no
Gig-
money.
which
Yeah.
make and
Well,
acting.
it's a new middle class profession, isn't it? I mean, it's
Yes.
like lawyers, accountants, bankers, or stand-up comedians.
Yeah, and I mean it's
it's a good, solid middle class career choice now.
that does all right, you know. And especially that's another thing too, because childcare is so expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it means you can just be a full-time babysitter, and then in the evenings go out for 20 minutes or a couple of nights a week, and you're grand. You know, it's a good time. But no, it's going surprisingly all right so far. You know, it's surprisingly all right, and I think that's the thing. You have to sort of mix it up and do a few different bits and bobs. So I don't think there's really anyone probably earning a full-time living just on stand-up. You know, you have to sort of do the podcast, do a bit of acting, some radio work, other bits and bobs, and then of course the corporate stuff where you sell your soul and be a brand ambassador for different
we'd never do
things.
that. We'd never sell our soul to anybody, would we?
Well, you know.
No, but you can
But yeah, you do corporate gigs as well. Do you after dinners and stuff like that?
sometimes the odd ones,
I like them.
You know, but you're the one who, like, I remember you telling me about it, and obviously you've been doing it for a good while, and you've got it nailed down. Like, the worst stuff for me is having to sit and have the dinner with them. Now, obviously, eating the dinner would be grand. But having to sit with them, and then they're all looking at you going, tell us a joke now, and you're going, I can't, that's not really what I just... And then you go up, and if it's terrible, they're like, oh dear, don't know this guy. You know, it's always... Or you say, go, get the dinner, have the drinks.
Free dinner,
Yeah,
be nice
rip it
to
out of
people.
them. Go.
What's wrong? You get free nice. I did the Electrical Contractors Association there recently in the
nice.
Culloden Hotel. 150 electrical contractors. They're all right. They're decent people. They're all from all around Northern Ireland. Just be nice to people.
But
What's wrong with that?
I know it's hard sometimes, though, isn't it? It's hard depending who you're doing it for. Like, it's, but no, I think if you have a good one, I always find the feeling when you leave a corporate, you never go, that was brilliant. I always find you leave and go, well, I survived. I'll have to fight another day. You know, that's always the one. Because some of them, they can be awful, but
They're difficult because they're there to basically to have a night out, and they're all got a few drinks in them, and they're enjoying chatting to each other, and then you've got to go out and get their attention and be funny.
And that's it. And a lot of them just want to do the pints. They're like, what's this guy doing? Like, I did a wedding once, and I was told a time to be there, and I was there at the time, but they'd already put the DJ on.
Yeah.
And the DJ was on, and they're playing like techno, so they don't want to come back, you know, away into their seat.
And everybody cleared away.
And it was just over the border, so there was an MC that was on, and she was not in the mood for it. I think she'd had enough by the end of the day. And I said, she goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing a bit of stand up. And she goes, all right, and handed me the mic. I said, well, no, you need to kind of let them know that I'm here. I can't just appear when they're still all in the... Yes. So you have to gather them and sit them down and introduce me. And she goes, what do you want me to say? She just, you know, bring me up and I'll do a bit. She goes, all right. So she goes out in this real harsh voice. She goes, everybody sit down. Everybody in your seats. Music off, sit in the seats. And I go, oh, dear.
A teacher of
Yeah, and then she goes, there's a fella here that's got something to say. And I was like, oh no, I look like I'm a bit late to go, and I've had a drink, and I don't think these two are meant to be together.
It should have been me.
And it was, oh my god, it was a tough one. The bride and groom were sort of going, and then whenever it was the dad, the father of the bride, had the payment to pay me, and he goes, I mean, that's a bit steep if you ask me. And I was like, all right, that's a lot, you know. So I was like, yeah, it feels like that now, but it was enough to get home in one piece. Yeah, so I won't be rushing to do that sort of thing again.
I did one the other night. It wasn't quite a corporate. It was at a birthday party that I was asked to say a few words at the end. Do you know who I was warmed up by?
Hey.
The UK's only drag queen dwarf. I was warmed up by look up the drag queen.
I will check it out.
This guy's birthday party and tired of drag, and he was quite entertaining in their own way. That was the warm up.
Do you ever do things like the traffic wardens convention and you hated people?
No, excuse me, traffic wardens are not here. Fine people, and if the traffic wardens convention is out there, I am available. I did the PSNI recently.
Okay.
The peelers are all right. The peelers don't mind. I did one for the chief constable.
Oh wow.
Yeah, who bizarrely turns out to be a Derby County fan, but it's
There you go.
weird, interesting fact.
Yeah.
No, I'll take anybody's money.
Were you funny in the housing executive?
I mean, probably tenants wouldn't think so much, but the housing executive was actually great. I enjoyed it there a lot, and a lot of material from that too. Like, you get some of the things I've seen in that, because I for a lot of years was an antisocial behaviour officer, so you had to go out to deal with any and some of the people, and there's moments you're out there going, you couldn't write this. You couldn't. Like, it's too far fetched. And I've told some of the stories to people and go, no, that's just a thing you've made up. I go, no, it's like there was the one that always springs to mind was a fella who I've said it before on a podcast, but I won't take too long with it. But long story short, got a phone call from this man. He said, my neighbours keep reporting me to the police. I was like, okay, why? And he goes, I had no idea. So then you have to go to the ones so I knocked the door and I said, your man next door is reporting that and keep phoning the police. And yeah, 'cause he's a pervert. I was like, okay, right, well, what's he been doing? And he goes, well, my wife was in the shower and they had to open the window because you won't put extractor fans in our house. And I go, all right, okay, I'll write that one down and bring it back to maintenance. But he goes, the window was open and she was in the shower, and next thing you see is your fella's head around the corner. And I said, you try to sort of play devil's advocate and be a bit of a diplomatic, but they go, look, maybe he was just out his back and he was just leaving something. He just happened to, and she was, it's on the first floor. And, right, okay, that's a harder one to explain. So then I was like, okay, so he was on his roof, basically. He climbed out of the roof, and the only way he had to get out of the roof would have been he had either to get up on a ladder or climbed out his bathroom window to duke around. So then I went back to him, and he was very much like, yeah, I was. It's my roof, though. I said, I know, that's not the issue, whose roof it is. And then he goes, well, if you want me to stop being on my roof, you'll have to put up a partition between the two houses. That's not going to happen. Could you just not do that? And then rather than him go, okay, he went, well, what if I have to dry my carpet?
What?
I was going, what? And he goes, yeah, what if I have my carpet, I'm cleaning my carpet, need to dry it, need to put it in the roof? I said, could you not dry it out the back? No, it doesn't dry as well. And I said, okay. So then a bit of time passed, called again, but the police rang us and they're like, yeah, we're dealing with this guy and whatever else, but there's tenancy issues here too. And then the same fella ended up being back on the roof, basically, except naked, sunbathing on the roof. Like that. So then, so yeah, fully. And now there's other houses there, so you'd be having everything on display. So then we have to go back and try to be like, look, you can't do that. So I went out the back with him and was walking around the house and said, look, you're out the back here. You've big high fence. If you want to be naked out sunbathe here, you could be there to your heart's content and you're not offending anybody. And he goes, are you stupid? And by this point I think yes, I think I might be, because there's no way I understand this logic. And he goes, do you think I'll get as good a tan down here than I will on the roof closer to the sun? And I went, oh no. And then
he need an all over tan.
I mean, he definitely got a lot more than a tan. I think he got a couple of years in McGabry after the end of it. But he was one of the ones that was weird. And then sometimes you're out with him and you can't make any sense. You can't. You just are going, I don't know. I'm not equipped to deal with this. But it's wild. Some of those, and that was every day. You'd mad people and strange stories and awful behaviour and all sorts. And there's one old woman, a great woman up in Finnegy, and she had a real issue with a neighbour, and her complaint about her neighbour was he would walk past her window picking his nose every day. I'd say that's not a breach of his tenancy, but it's just bad etiquette, I guess. But she was like, and it's really winding me up, and he was walking by.
And was he doing it deliberately, do you think?
Oh, I think so, yeah. I think so. Yeah. But sometimes you get that. You'd have people that would do things intentionally to wind people up, and one guy who would wait till 7 a.m, bang on every day, and he would turn all the noise he had in the house on to wind people up, and he would have the tumble dryers, the radiator, the radio, he would have everything on, he would be banging, and he goes, well, it's allowed, and then he would do that up until 11 o'clock, and then that's when the noise control people can turn it all off, and he would be like, well, technically I'm not doing anything wrong. I think he would say to him, but you're being an absolute bollocks and you could stop, He was like, so yeah, you get people that are just, they love it, like they love to wind people up, and he was a nightmare, that guy. If you're out there, hope you're doing well.
So your tenants, basically housing executive tenants, inspired you to give it up and take up comedy.
Yeah, they were the ones that made me go, you know what, I'm just not cut out for this. This is too much for me, this is too much.
We used to get the guys like that in the firm. We both worked in the Fair Employment Commission. You used to get them all the time.
There's a lot of people out there who you're a pains in the hole. We can say that now safely.
Yeah.
People who just like complaining about
Nothing
stuff.
as strange as folk.
There's nothing. Yeah. There are people who are.
No, and one of my favourite ones of all time, there was the woman had an old elderly lady had a very obstructive bush in her garden, and
thanks for clarifying.
Wasn't using the shaver then?
No, if only I should have sent her a free one. But it was just there was the email chain back and forward with the maintenance officer was one of the greatest things of all time. Was like this? I know that this Mrs. McCambly's bush was overgrown overgrown and it's an intrusive bush. But I've asked her if she could trim it back, but she says she's not capable of doing it, and she needs somebody who can take this unenviable task themselves. And it's back and forward until eventually, the bush. Yes, until they went out and they trimmed their bush for.
It took 2 men.
It took, and actually lost a man in it too. But that was a lot of fun. So I have a wee folder of like everything's redacted in it, but it's all like some of the funniest wee emails and vice versa. And there's a woman who believed that she was a reincarnation of her neighbour's dead mother, which was an eventful turn of phrase. So
reincarnation of the neighbour's dead mother.
So then she
very
was
specific.
It was,
I know that most people come back as Jesus or Napoleon or something.
It was the next door neighbour's dead mother, and the neighbour was very civil fella. He was like, look, I know that she's got her issues, but this is a bit too far, because you put a shrine up in her window, which is right next door to his house, of his dead mother with crystals all around her. And he was like, that's a bit offensive, I was like, yeah. And then
whoa. His mother's died 2 years ago. He walks past the neighbour's house.
Yeah, and
the neighbour's got a shrine.
And the neighbour also said that he killed his own mother and stuff, and put her in a water tank and all. And he's going, I guess it's not good. So.
Did he put her in the water tank?
I mean, I think it was actually out the back. I think it was in the coal shed he put her, but we'll not worry about the facts.
Just one end.
I believe she got sectioned under that. Not my problem. See, but it was that was a fun one, and then when you're sort of out there and you're going, you need to give these people help, but also this might make for a decent 5 minutes. Keep it up there. But that was an eventful one, and then didn't hear from that woman for a few years until her rubbish became possessed by demons. So she was emptying her black bin in the street and throwing bleach all over it, and then I had to come in and see her again, because this is not right. So, but then she'd be very plausible about what was going on, and you'd go, okay, that's fair enough.
Right. So basically, what is, if you need a new solo show, you need a new hour in Edinburgh or something, basically go back to work for a few months?
Yes, go back to work for a few months. But then I got moved out of that fun part and ended up working with communities and, re-imaging and things like that. And
stuff,
it was good fun, but you didn't get the exciting part of all that.
Nothing like a bit of antisocial behaviour.
No, nothing that keeps you young like it. They were brilliant, but it was definitely something where you go, that's not a job that I should be doing. I think I was in my mid-20s at the time, like, what do I know about any of this? It was my what I did know. When you move to community stuff, you got to hang out with a lot of community groups. You used to go out and you could bridge the divide by having fries with everybody. It was great. Right. You could just, and it was a lot of fun. I love those wee community groups, like see in the Sandy Row and all. Margaret would make you a great fry down there. It was always a great, and then you'd have to go over to the men's shed at Cliftonville, and then those boys would give you a bun, and then that's what happened to me. That was the problem. I was just trying to unite people so much that I was just
bringing people together.
I was doing it for the community.
I was doing it for the people of Northern Ireland, for the future of Northern Ireland,
and that was it. Yeah. And I think, look, still got peace. So
well, you know what? Yeah. You deserve a Nobel Peace Prize in yourself.
I think so. I mean, that'd be an interesting award. This man ed us to peace. But I loved it. The community stuff it was a great. I was probably my favourite job I did. Like, it was a lot of fun to get to see things get re-imaged and all, and then you get tied into maybe the more contentious ones, and it's not so fun. But that was good. That was good. Enjoyed that. And then I remember actually one day we had a men's shed in Cliftonville, and it was right on the Peace Wall, and sort of the grand plan was eventually the Peace Wall would come down and there would be two men's shed would unite as one, and the opening of that, May McFetridge did a bit at it, which was just a strange thing, because obviously John Lennon walks into this like little old shipping container and then like stars in her eyes 5 minutes later May McFetridge appears, and had like that audience. I would not want to do stand up in front of them at all. You're going, they'd just be, he had them absolutely in stitches. Everybody like just all standing around a flower bed, and and it was just, and you look at him and you go, that's experience, that's professionalism. He absolutely got it. And then they're like, do you want to do a turn? I'm like, no, I'm all right. I'm just to be here in my professional capacity today. Thank you.
I opened the Dunkern men's shed at the bottom of Dunkern Garden.
That's a rival one, though. I'm not about that.
That's a rival one. Yeah.
It's not the old park.
It was very cross-community, I think. It was very it was great. Good organisation, the men's shed.
Yeah, the men's sheds are actually great.
Yeah.
But then you get into the whole, there ended up being a hen shed debate.
Oh, no, was it
where women wanted
Right.
their sheds and the men were like, we get nothing, they were
Yeah,
and then
the worrying thing was when I opened it was only a few years ago, and they go, in a couple of years you could be eligible. But what do you mean I could be eligible to come and sit and whittle
So what do you do?
things?
What do you do? You just sit in this
No, it's just a shed for men. You come and have hobbies, and you can make things, and bit
What kind of
carpentry,
hobbies?
well,
What kind of
whatever you
hobbies?
want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of pottery and
Whittling?
and things like that.
I think-
it's just a space for men to meet
Techno?
other men.
Yeah.
and
Could you have
they
techno?
I mean, Tim, I don't know if you're how you're
Space for men to meet other
Yeah.
men.
at the jazz
I
thing
know
as
that's
well.
been thought of before. It's men of a certain age to be. It's not making it any better.
So the hen shed, the women are striking back then.
Yeah, I think that was the idea. But they were like, look, they've already have their women's groups. They're great. They're social. We're the miserable.
Yes.
They're like the,
Yeah, that's true.
But,
Because men don't like to go out
Oh,
and
no.
meet other men.
Yeah,
They
women-
don't
women
or
have-
go to the doctor or anything.
Yeah.
We don't. We're
No,
athletes,
that's
we're-
true. We aren't
We don't
social.
do that sort of stuff.
But it was I thought it was great crack in the men's shed. And then you'd have the fellas who were really good and really handy at making things, and you'd have gardeners, you'd have everyone doing different wee jobs, and then you just have the ones that would come for the tea and biscuits,
Yeah.
and just sit there and just gans. It was they were great spots, and
Yeah.
you could get some material out of those sort of boys as well. Like some of them
You
were
have
great.
talked about your weight sometime in your stand-up. quite a
Yes.
bit, yeah. Is Ozempic going to ruin your career?
No, it's gonna hopefully make it.
Yeah.
Because again, I think I've when you do something too much. Like I've done all the fat jokes now. What can I do now? Bald, yes. I can draw that
You've
off.
heard now. You've heard.
I've a bit, but it's still not right. Speaking of actually fat, I did a gig on Friday or Saturday night in West Belfast, and it was great. Lovely gig, went really
Was it
well.
Glenone or something?
It was in the Beehive.
Oh, right,
So it was
right.
you're there next actually.
I
Yeah,
was in there, yeah.
it was great.
Was it
but
good?
it was really enjoyed it, and when you come off, you have a good one. You're like, I'm buzzing here. This is great. One of the other comedians, Alan Irwin, says to me, "Oh, what was funny? There was an old boy came past me when you were on stage." And he goes, "Oh, right, okay." He goes, "What did he say?" And he goes, "Well, he leant in. He goes, it might just be me, but," and I go, "Oh, this is going to be good." He goes, "I just don't like listening to big fat sluts slagging themselves off." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" Never in my life have been called a big fat slut before. But
There was no need for the slot
No,
there.
I don't even
The
know.
slot was
it was too much.
superfluous.
And I thought, what am I doing up there that people think I'm fat? It's like, what's going on here? But it was, it was a fun one. But again, after that, I was like, that's brought me back to earth. I thought I did great there, but now my feelings hurt. So, but it was a good one. You'll have a good time there. A lot of fun. A lot of characters there too as well.
Is that right?
Oh, yes.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and it's a weird setup too. The stage looks great,
Yeah.
but then there's like almost a wee VIP corner of just people like on the stage there too, and you forget they're just
Oh, right,
there like in the
that's
corner.
a
So you're doing a wee
heckler's
set like
shed,
this, talking to you, and all of a sudden you're like, what's
I'll
going
tell you
on?
when I knew I had a growing weight problem. When I started to watch the archive of Elvis, the Elvis's last concert.
Yes.
And I started looking at him going, he's not that fat. You took yourself out of it.
Yeah.
It used to be the epitome of
Yeah, that was the manliness. That was
fat
it.
Elvis.
And then when did after? Oh, the next week. Oh dear. But no, that's the thing. Whenever you see like these shows about like The Biggest Loser and stuff, and you're going, I'm a decent bit heavier than these guys. There must be muscle there too. It must
No,
be.
there is. There's
And then you go, oof, no. But you know what? It's actually, I think that's with any problem, isn't it? You have to go, right, I need to do something
Yeah,
about it.
well,
let's
do
go.
you? Can you not just be comfortable and enjoy your...
But then that's the thing, there's the battle between the body positivity movement
Yeah.
and doctors. Somewhere in the middle.
Medical
Body
evidence.
positivity, life expectancy.
Yes, because you go into the doctor and go, listen, I'm living my best life. I love me. It's great. And then the doctor will be like, well, you live your best life for the next 12 months and then you'll be dead. So it's finding a happy medium. But yeah, that's when you start having to think about things like blood pressure and you're this and that. And now I'm thinking about my prostate being looked at and all. And I've been trying to get people to look at my prostate for years, but no one will fall for it, So it's...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I know, but you do, don't you? And then your kids look at you and they're like, "We just want you to be here." And you're like, "Okay." If you're
Don't
crying,
make it
at me.
sad, Dave. Don't make the podcast sad. Dave's going to be all right, kids.
Yes, I am.
We're just going to speak to Dave.
I am.
Tell us about the run you're going on, Dave. Tell us about the marathon.
Yes, we're
marathon?
Run a leg of the marathon.
A leg of
A leg of the mile. Okay.
Excellent.
And the short.
Sorry, I didn't mean that to be surprising.
A marathon?
The shortest leg of the marathon too. So
It's 26 and a half. Right, okay. What's the shortest leg?
It's 4 miles.
Meters?
Yeah, I wish. I've struggled with that sometimes too, but no. Yeah, it's 4 miles, so we're doing
4
that.
miles. I wouldn't run 4 miles.
You could.
I couldn't run 4 miles.
Yeah,
man.
you could.
That's to the shops and
But then you think about it too when you're doing it. Like people are like, "Oh, it's great fun. You'll love it. You'll feel this runner's
running
high."
is boring.
No, and then you're bored in your own head, and then you start having thoughts like, "I don't have to. I could just stop this and go home and have breakfast." You know what I mean? Sometimes it's getting past that mental block where I'm like, "Yeah, just stop it, Dave. Who are you trying to impress? You know." What are you doing? And then people, but you're trying to
Running
raise
is
money for
tedious
a
though,
goal.
isn't it?
Oh, it's so
I have to say, it's not one of the things.
It's a bit dull.
It is a bit dull, I agree. Running is dull. Yeah.
And it
I think
killed
it, yeah.
Rick Mail. He died after running.
Did
Lots
he?
of people die after running.
Yeah.
running's
But he
bad.
not have he not have a major brain injury from
No, but the running killed him.
from the quad
Died after
flipping
the
over.
run. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was years before.
Yeah.
No, but it's bad for your feet and all of that.
Well, they said it's actually bad for your knees after one. Like, you should take it easy, I used to run
Go
from
walking.
school. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what to do.
Yeah.
That was a classic throwback. That excellent advert. Remember they used to try to encourage people to walk here, and they had to have an advert. Oh, that was
walking
brilliant.
is good for you. Go walking.
But it's a big thing now, isn't it? Like the people, I find like a lot of people get hobbies nowadays, and they're all like everything's a movement. People will go for a hike and a coffee, and it's their whole personality. We wear the sports and walk and call, and it's like, just go and do it. Just take your shoes, go for a walk, have a look around, get back inside, and give off about people. That's it. Like I don't know if you're the same, but I find like I end up disliking people for no reason. Just for them being like back to school gates, there's parents that probably don't even know I exist, and they maybe haven't let me out of a space one time, and I'll wish death on them forever.
Yeah.
There's a guy in the gym you walk past and you say morning to, and he ignores you, and you go, "Well, I hope you get
Yeah.
struck down right now."
Yeah.
I'm awful for that nowadays. Just having.
Well, that'll get worse as you get older. It happened to me. People who you let out and then don't give you a wee wave or indicate.
You should follow them home and set the house on fire. That's what you should do. And then be like, "Justice has been served."
You realise you start to become invisible in bars. You walk in, you're trying to get a drink, and because you're a certain age,
Yeah.
they don't see you. You've suddenly become invisible overnight.
And then so you have to do something about it. That you just go back and serve yourself, and then they'll see you. Then you. Oh, that's no. I
Do
just.
you prefer acting to stand up? Does it?
I think I prefer stand up. I think it's the most fun to do because you can kind of. I think you can always figure it out. But acting, I just think it's. I don't understand how I've ever been fortunate enough to do it.
Yeah, but the thing about acting is you don't get heckled, do you?
No, no. Sometimes you do. You can get your whole family around. And be like, "Will you see me in this?" And oh, I thought I was in this episode. Like, no, we've cut you entirely. but no, I think that acting, I always feel because I'm so new at it that you're there with people who have been doing it for years and are great at it, and you're going, "I'm nowhere near anywhere." Like at least with stand up, you can have a good night and you can look sort of on a level with people. But this particular, like, so whenever you're on a set, you're like, "Oh, I can't do this."
But to say the TV camera puts a stone on.
3.
So
Yeah.
so I used to say, I don't need to go to the gym. I just need to come off the TV. That saves the gym. That saves the gym.
I never thought
come
about
off
that.
camera.
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Go, Dave.
Something like that.
Yeah, the TV diet. Just don't go on it. Yeah, but no, it's good, and I think like it's with acting when you watch it back, I always think if I see myself back, at least I've not ruined something. That's it. I always say that's a good job. If I look back on and go, oh, I haven't looked totally out of place there. It's always nice. And then sometimes if you see your stuff back, you go, oh no. I'm bad for listening to myself back, looking at myself, any of that. I'm like,
Tom Hanks told a great story about
my peer, Tom Hanks.
He normally would just go with the director. He thought he mocked things up, and the director kept telling him, "No, it's fine, Tom. It's fine." And it was one day he went, "No, I want to take it again. Do it for me." So he does it again. He goes home to the wife and says, fantastic, brilliant, smashed it. It was great. And then he saw it and he went, "Oh Christ!" The director was great.
Yeah.
The first game was better than this.
No, I did something that's going to be out soon where I was playing a taxi driver. So again, I had auditioned for a role as like a drug user. And they had said, you don't have the look of a heroin user.
Oh,
the audition was good.
On what basis? How did they come to that conclusion?
They said, we like the tape, but...
I don't
we
think you look like a heroin user.
and then they're like, but we do have a role of a taxi driver if you want to try that.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So I did that. I thought it was all right. I had to do this weird wee Yorkshire accent and all, which took a lot of work. But there was a scene where 2 nights I'd record the driving about in the taxi, and then the next night the external shot of coming out to collect the 2 people. So I'd totally forgotten there was a microphone and everything in the taxi. So I was having a bit of crack with the 2 actors, and obviously they've stuntmen and all having to move the car because it was in Waring Street, so I can't be driving reverse in a big black taxi. So they pulled up to get in, and I just drove up, and they're like, we only have a couple of takes here because the road's not closed off. I'm like, dead on. So I drove up and opened the door, and they hopped in, and I was like, you looking for a cab, mate? And then I just heard through the walkie-talkie, the mics are live, Dave, you've wrecked that, back to the set. And you could just hear fucking him, and I could look out the window, he's fucking I was like, all right, okay. So I'm not trying to have any crack anymore. You know, so that was, I look forward to seeing me being cut from that.
The Blue Lights you were in, were you?
Yeah, I was in season 2 of Blue Lights. Was there playing Brendan, a guy with mental health issues, so didn't have to draw too far into the ether for that one. Yeah, but it was great fun to be, because I was a fan of Blue Lights from the first series, so it was cool being there and being, you know, in it with the people that you sort of watched. And the first day on set, when I turned around and they were doing the scene trying to come in to calm me down, I turned around and there's Annie from Blue Light. I said, oh no, you need to be in it now, you know. So that was good fun to do. And
You were up for Blue Lights, weren't you?
Yeah, thanks very much for reminding people. I did an audition for Blue Lights, which was very successful up to the point where they decided
Not to cast you.
Go with someone else. Some fucker called Dave Elliott got it.
Right, okay.
I've got heroin chic, have I not?
Yeah.
I could do taxi driver.
You could do taxi.
I could do taxi driver.
But listen, if there's another series coming up, so you
Is there?
could get it. Yeah.
Yeah, there are chances.
Yeah. Absolutely too. That's right. So yeah, but it's back for series 3 soon.
The
And
only acting part I ever got
No, I know.
outside On the Wall Gang was a film called The Belfast Story.
Yep, that's your finest hour.
this
Machine gun outside.
this is I think, and I mean this with love in my heart. I think Belfast Story might have been the worst thing I've ever seen.
I think you're not far off.
There are fans of Belfast Story. Some of them, no. There are 2 groups of fans. There are fans who genuinely think it was a good film.
Very few of them.
Very few and far between. There are fans who go, that was so bad, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
The thing about Belfast Story is that you can actually see it run out of money while you're making it.
Yeah.
The money did actually run out.
Yeah.
But you can see it runs out because the actors are getting less, the extras are getting less and less, and there's finally a big crowd scene at the end of it all. When all the truth is going to be revealed at this big rally, and it all happens off screen. It's all happening in there. You know, you don't see it.
Yeah, but your scene that was dramatic up against the walls.
Colin Meaney, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Meaney himself from Star Wars.
Did he ask you back?
Trek, was he?
Did he ever ask you back?
Well,
you got that guy.
Colin and I were like that.
Get him. He's a guy you want.
But what I loved about that scene was you actually made it to the police station,
Yeah.
and then you get riddled.
Yes, I'm at the bang in the door of the police
Yeah.
station, and I'm riddled with bullets.
Yeah.
It's a dramatic murder.
It was a dramatic murder.
Typical Northern Ireland, the police station's closed.
Yeah.
You get to the police station, then get riddled.
But there was one, and there was a bit, because I mean, there's a whole furore about how they promoted it as well, the pipe bombs.
They sent people a package with a balaclava and a fake pipe bomb and a bit of barbed wire.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? There was a massive furore because this film was coming out.
I wonder why.
And I went to the premiere and it was kind of, this is great. It was hard work.
It was the scene in it where they poison the chips in the chip shop. That's where I went, that's a bit too far. You know, the guy in the balaclavas and the gloves and all the gear, he'd snuck into a chip shop. And it was just a normal chip shop, and people are dishing out chips, but he'd snuck in his full gear and put poison on someone's chips and then to kill them.
Yeah. Chips?
And then I'm going, surely there's about 10 other people in this chip shop going to see this guy. But it was yeah. And I actually need to watch it again because it was.
Yeah, no,
We should do a watch along. Get in and do a watch along.
So there's one guy
I have a
with
gun
chips.
down the sofa as well. That's the other hand.
But what, you don't
My
use it
door's
though?
knocked and I go.
But you don't use
and then
it?
I hide it again. One.
Why do you hide it again?
You should have brought it to the police station.
I
Yeah, when you
think
don't
I'm
see
about
it.
to be shot, but it's not. It's the Peters coming to my door. It's Colin Meaney at my door.
Oh, right, okay.
Colin has this poor Colin. He used to run off and go to his Winnie Bagel and rewrite the script. Still couldn't save it.
I don't understand the chips thing, right? Hang on. So he basically there's one guy.
It's based on there's a revenge story. There's a guy doing.
Oh, right, okay.
He's having a go at all these terrorists.
All right.
I presume the RAB, because I don't know whether it was kind of mixed up a bit because it was a bit woolly
Right, okay.
around the edges. But so he was killing people in the manner that
They
other
kill-
people kill. So
right,
you know,
okay.
So I was
What, a man being done to death for
people, so
chips?
I was riddled up against the thing. Yeah.
Has somebody been force fed chips? Or
There were nail bombs. Now that you remind me, I think
Yeah.
we should watch it again.
We
We should
Yeah.
actually just have a sit down.
I think so.
I know,
Yeah.
that would be good.
But it's like, wasn't he a serial killer? But in
Yeah,
like
it
a
was
paramilitary outfit serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was and then at the very
I
end.
think it ended well though when United Ireland and everybody was playing
Yes.
hurling.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yes, they're all playing.
When I say
Yeah.
well, I'm not deliberately alienating all our
Yeah.
viewers and listeners. I think
But-
it did end the film.
So what's happened in the end of it all is that Gavin Robinson and his mates have all gone
Yeah.
down to take their seats in the Dáil.
Ah, that's what it
everybody's
was.
happy.
Yeah, and then they went
You
down
see.
for a hurling match.
Yeah.
But it's like you said about it, it just ending. It was like they're doing the hurling, and then it just comes up the screen. Don't worry about it. It's United Ireland, all good. Basically, that's how it goes. And then the credits roll.
Oh,
it's
thinking Jim Allister's watching this. He goes, I was enjoying this.
I think I would actually like to watch.
It's
you
maybe
watch
want to
it.
watch it.
Yeah.
See, no, I know.
Definitely.
No.
Get a good look at it.
When I first asked you to be on the pod, I told you that there would be a quiz on your Give Me Head Piece knowledge.
Yes,
you were
okay.
a fan of Give Me Head
Yes.
Piece. You watched all
Yes.
as you were a youngster. What age were you when you were a kid watching it?
I would have been probably about 10, I think, when it came out for the first time. And
1998.
yeah, and you actually used to live down the street from me, and we used to be very fascinated with you
No, yes.
in the street. Yeah, in the corner, down in the corner. We'd be afraid to kick our ball into your house to see if you would come out. And you
Hollywood?
never, yeah, you never did.
Wow.
Yeah, we were throwing our balls at your window, and you no interest. That was terrible.
I'm sure you can come around to nature.
Watch a Belfast story. Yeah.
Did his
But-
minders not come out and throw things? I think, didn't they?
No, but you lived next door to a woman who was vicious with balls. Like she would have, like if your ball
Oh,
went
the
in her
knife, was
garden, she'd have got the knife out, and so you had to be careful. Try and hit you'd make sure you didn't.
Yes,
her
their
garden.
own garden. Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be it.
See
Yeah.
what happened there? He did the Barbara Streisand effect. You see? He said,
Yeah.
How dare you come and look at my house?
But yeah, that was it. 'Cause that was it. That whenever we were kids, we were fascinated, and yeah, you did. And in fairness to you, you didn't humour us, so fair play. That's good. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think I'm from a mixed marriage, so it's both
Right.
sides of the coin. We're both. My granny would be very much more Uncle Andy's side of the house, and
Right.
my mother's side would be more my and dad's side, except out in the country at Points Pass she was. So.
Points pass.
Oh,
So yeah, we definitely saw the parallels and a lot of humour in it too. Like that was always my dad he's a big Uncle Andy fan, a big loyalist. I should just say my dad's a loyalist. My loyalist part, yeah. So,
That man speaks sense.
He's like, I agree, yeah. But then no, my dad would always be like, that was what it was like for us, with Billy and Emer. That was me and your mother's love story.
Is that
And
right?
my mum would be like, don't listen to him. At all.
No, it wasn't.
Well, yeah, she's like, no, he's just lying, lying. But yeah, it was always on. My mum and dad did love it, and then as the older they got there, I just try to say, just don't watch anything with any political anything in it, because my dad used to listen to Nolan every morning, and he'd start the day with all too many problems in his life. So I just don't want him knowing anything exists anymore, because he's that age where he's and he's kids and all, and he's like, no, and I'm like, Dad, no, stop listening to these things, please, and then he'd be like, you know what, I think that Jamie, and I know it's too much, Dad, right now, enough is enough.
Go back to staring out the window.
Yes, just out the window, television
Your
off,
dad
please.
was kind of, he's getting on. I've done my own research, sort of character.
He's not a million miles off.
I've done my own research, and you know what?
I'd be like, "Where's your research? Twitter? That's not research." So, and then my mum's at the point where she's just now like, I can't. I just ignore him. You know, that's where I just ignore him. But he means well.
And when you were on tour with me and Dave did a few of the warm-ups for my solo show, did very, very well, by the way. You were
Thank you very much.
You were living with your mum and dad.
Yes, that's right. We were living because my wife had put me out because I'd been doing research. No, we had a bit of work done in the house, so we had all moved in. So myself and my wife, 2 kids, and the dog.
I'm not saying it was stressful, but you got some material there.
Yeah, I mean that was always, you definitely get a bit, but it was an experience, let's just say. And then we're glad to be back home again and with friends, with my family again, because it's like anything, you know, whenever people are set in their ways and you end up having to come in, their wee routines are upset and all, and then living with, like, my parents are great with the kids, but I think having a 7 and a 4-year-old in your life when you're in your 60s and your 70s isn't exactly the most fun in the world. And then up at 6 in the morning, where's Granny and Grandad? Oh, don't go up to them there. So it was tough, but 12 weeks we were there near enough,
12 weeks,
and we managed to still be cordial. So
right,
we came
killed
in.
anybody.
Not that I know of. No, my dad went missing a couple of nights, you know, here and there. So Lord knows what he was doing to relieve his stress. But
was he sunbathing naked on the roof?
again, yeah. But that was good. I'm glad actually, because it was a tough old time. So I'm glad I still managed to be able to get out and have a laugh during it. Because at times I was just delighted to be out of the house. I was taking gigs anywhere, I was doing corporates everywhere for free. I was like, listen, don't worry, let's just get out. But yeah, it was good. And now we're back at home, and it's pleasant. Got carpet down last week, so we sort of feel like
you're home,
we're home again, you know. But again, the builders are doing work, and they're said to be finished by the end of January, and we're looking at May now, so they're just, you know, they'll maybe pop in for an hour here and there towards a week at the minute, and I just want them all in the skip away, gone. So, but we're getting there. Nice.
Are you doing Shane Todd's podcast on the 23rd?
I am not. No,
you're not.
I am not.
All right.
No.
Okay, because you're on quite a lot.
Yes, too much. People would say, yeah, they're sick aside of me. But yeah, I personally am not. I may or may not be. There may or may not be a character appearing who looks at me. Maybe.
Doing a little turn at the top of it.
Yeah.
On the 23rd of May.
Oh, nice.
How do you do a live pod? What's that about? We should maybe try to do this. Book the SSE Arena for us to come.
Yes, go and yeah. I mean,
Give My Head podcast live.
I think
just people just sitting around chatting.
I think a live podcast feels, in terms of preparation, a bit like cheating. Right. You know, because you go and you have fun. And you don't have to be super stressed out about a set. You'll have a few talking points and things you want to talk about, but it's not like if you're doing a solo show, I need to know this, and you're all up the high-do beforehand, stressed out, trying to remember stuff. Whereas live podcast, you can go and have a bit of crack. It's a lot of fun, and they're always the nights I enjoy doing the most, because there's no pressure with it. You know,
do you get hecklers at the live podcast?
Oh, aye, you do. You get a few, but then less, because you know they're there to listen. People shush them up. Shh, we're trying to listen to these people, these intellects talk. These
intellectual giants.
Let these people give us their opinion on the right way to shave down below at the right angle, so you don't get ingrown hairs, please.
But how do you handle hecklers? Like, do you have a set of put downs, or do you deal with it?
Yeah, I think you just sort of try to. Like, I wouldn't be a mad sort of. It wouldn't be my main thing, would be crowd work. I would sort of have a set most of the time, but you just sort of try to react to them. And
he just tells me, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. But
I don't like them.
But no, sometimes they really annoy you, you know, and then at the right time. And then sometimes, like with the weird tenants, you have people say stuff to you and you go, I don't even understand. Well, like I did a gig for Action Mental Health, so it was a fundraising event to raise money for a good cause, and some guy shouted something, and I was like, what was that? And he goes, I just don't get what your message is. And I was like, well, if you've come here to try and get a message out of me, you're in the wrong place. You need to go and speak to one of the volunteers over there. But it's wild, like, so you just have to kind of react to what the moment is. But sometimes you like, yeah, if you get a good one, you have to go, oh, fair play to you, that was decent. But a lot of them are just strange, and people are blocked and think this will be good. You go,
so one complaint I've heard about podcast live is somebody once said to me, he said, stand-up comedies, he said, stand-up comedians, now they're not even bothered to buck and stand up. They just sit in sofas.
Yeah.
Sit in sofas.
Yeah. I know some.
Come on, will you flip and stand up?
But that's you know, that's a good.
Bad news is that was head of comedy.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Well, then you just say to him, well, listen, you should give the stand-ups a bit more money to stand up then, shouldn't you? You know?
They need help standing up.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of us are lazy guys. Like a lot of guys that find it much easier sitting down. You know, my knees can't cope with an hour standing up anymore. You imagine? So, but yeah, it's podcasts are a great thing. I think it's just a different medium too, you know. And I think like whenever you're selling tickets or people are coming to see you, they can obviously see your show or see what you're like doing a set, but then I think people see what you're like as a person more, you know, and that's where I think people like to see behind the curtain. They like to see, you know, what really goes on. And then I think whenever you're a comedy fan, you think there's this whole, what's the process? Like, where do they get this magic from? There must be some and then you just see it's just people sitting around, arse about doing bugger all, and then an idea. Oh, brilliant! There you go. So you're giving away all the secrets almost, you know. But it's a podcast are great fun. You have a great time if you did a live one for sure.
Well, thank you very much for summing up our career there.
You know, May McFetteridge took umbrage with me because I said, you know, yeah, it's great getting paid to fuck about. He went, fuck about? What about the craft?
The craft of comedy.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I think like that phrase is always funny to me. The craft, and people are like, so what do you? I think the easiest thing if you're just being a comedian is not taking yourself too seriously. You know, like whenever you have a process, that's when you go, nah, it's too far. Just go and arse about and something will land, you know, eventually.
Well, you know the ones who do all the warm-up exercises and all before they go on and all that.
Well, there's not many of those left. That's the proper actors. The famous one, the actor in the wings of the Grand Opera House, and there was one of the tech guys in there. Very, very funny. He said this actor taking himself far too seriously, was doing breathing exercises on the side of the stage in the Grand Opera House, and the tech guy goes, "What are you doing?" He says, "I gather." And then I give. I walked out on it. And that's what I say to people when I'm backstage at a comedy gig. I'm gathering. Right now, I'm gathering. And then when I do the beehive,
they take
I will give.
Well, hopefully they don't call you a fat slut, and maybe just a slut.
Thanks for helping us gather, Dave. An absolute pleasure to have you on the Give My Head podcast. Thank you very, very much. We will see you soon on Blue Lights. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Or not. Who knows? Like if you watch back to season 2 on the iPlayer,
I meant to watch back the second series. Good luck with the live tour. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, listen to Daddy What's a Podcast on BBC. It's genuinely very, very good. I'm not just saying that because I was in one episode.
Thank you very much. It was a great episode.
6 episodes?
6 episodes, yes.
It's very, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much to our superb sponsors, Phoenix Energy. Go and check them up at phoenixenergyni.com. Thank you very much. We'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.